The period from 1877 to 1900, often referred to as the era of the Wild West, was marked by significant conflicts over land and power, leading to widespread violence and lawlessness across the American frontier. As settlers, ranchers, miners, and railroad companies moved into the Western territories, they encountered resistance from Native American tribes, competing settlers, and outlaws who sought to exploit the chaos of the frontier for their gain. The competition for land, resources, and control often erupted into violent confrontations, as various groups vied for dominance in a region where legal authority was sparse and poorly enforced. One of the primary sources of conflict in the Wild West was the struggle over land, which was exacerbated by the rapid influx of settlers and the expansion of railroads. Ranchers sought vast expanses of open range for their cattle, while homesteaders claimed smaller plots of land under the Homestead Act. This competition often led to disputes over land ownership, grazing rights, and water access, which could quickly escalate into violent feuds. Additionally, the discovery of gold and other valuable minerals in various parts of the West attracted prospectors and mining companies, further intensifying the competition for land and resources. In many cases, these disputes were settled not through the courts but through force, as vigilante justice and personal retribution became common in a region where the rule of law was still being established. The lawlessness of the Wild West was epitomized by the rise of outlaws who capitalized on the lack of organized law enforcement to commit crimes such as robbery, cattle rustling, and murder. Notorious figures like Jesse James, Billy the Kid, and Butch Cassidy became legendary for their daring exploits, robbing banks, stagecoaches, and trains with impunity. These outlaws often operated in loosely organized gangs, using the vast and rugged landscape of the West to evade capture and continue their criminal activities. The public fascination with these outlaws, fueled by sensationalized newspaper reports and dime novels, contributed to their mythic status as anti-heroes in the popular imagination. In response to the rampant lawlessness, a new breed of lawmen emerged to bring order to the frontier. These individuals, often known as sheriffs, marshals, or Texas Rangers, were tasked with enforcing the law in some of the most dangerous and volatile regions of the West. Figures like Wyatt Epp, Bat Masterson, and Pat Garrett became famous for their efforts to uphold the law in towns like Tombstone, Dodge City, and Deadwood. These lawmen often operated with limited resources and under constant threat from outlaws and rival factions, but they played a crucial role in establishing some semblance of order in the Wild West. Their confrontations with outlaws, such as the gunfight at the OK Corral or Pat Garrett's pursuit of Billy the Kid, became iconic moments in the history of the West, symbolizing the struggle to impose law and order on a lawless land. Despite the violence and chaos of the era, law and order in the West gradually improved as more territories became states and the federal government extended its reach into the region. The establishment of more formalized legal systems, including courts, jails, and a more organized police presence, helped to curb the worst excesses of lawlessness. The construction of railroads and telegraph lines also played a role in bringing the West into closer contact with the rest of the country, facilitating the spread of news, law enforcement, and economic development. As towns grew and became more settled, local governments were able to assert greater control, reducing the power of vigilantes and outlaws. By the end of the 19th century, the Wild West began to fade into history as the frontier was gradually tamed and incorporated into the broader American society. The conflicts over land and power that had defined the era were largely resolved through the expansion of the legal system and the consolidation of state authority. While the myth of the Wild West lived on in popular culture, the reality was that the region had undergone a profound transformation, moving from a lawless frontier to a more orderly and settled part of the United States. The era of the Wild West, with its outlaws and lawmen, remains a powerful symbol of the challenges and opportunities that defined the American frontier during this tumultuous period.